Okay, I'm going to talk about a very important topic, and it's something important to me, and it's kind of funny, and it's kind of sad. And it's, are we kind of indoctrinating and teaching racism in schools? I'm going to talk a little bit about my growing up. In my town, we had people of different backgrounds. We had blacks and Asians and everything in this class. And we had people with all different backgrounds. I mean, we had white people look completely different from one another, too. And, we just saw each other as classmates. We really didn't care. We were all little kids hanging out. And a lot of my closest friends I've ever had weren't white. All right, when I was growing up, one of my close friends was Jonathan Bowie. He was Asian. He moved away. One of my closest friends was Peter Kowalski. Now, Peter Kowalski still lives in my hometown. He was black, he is black. And the whole thing is that, the way things have gone, with school and everything, we haven't been able to hang out much or talk to one another. But if we see each other, we still say hello. But my closest friend, this kid was like a brother to me. All right, like, yeah, like we basically ran, at least it felt like we ran elementary school. Everybody knew us. We always hung out. We were really cool. It was Doug Lowe. Doug Lowe, this kid was a genius. We had so much in common. And, he was black, and he was proud to be black. I mean, he would talk to you a little bit about black culture and everything like that, but he would say at the end of the day, what does it matter? I'm a person, just accept me for who I am, have a good time. And he was a great kid. This kid would call me up like on my birthday, wish me a happy birthday and everything, and I miss him. He died young and everything, and, it's strange because I look at, like, what we're teaching kids today and everything, and it's pretty sad. I mean, when we were younger, when I was like in the first couple years of school, we'd always talk about people, trying to get equal rights. We would talk about, the whole civil rights movement, slavery. Yeah, we talked about it. It wasn't until about 5th grade when we really started getting like indoctrinated with it. When they start talking about like okay, this is how people were were like a big racist with slavery and everything like that. Then after slavery, this is how you could be racist as well. It was like a whole class on it, and like we went through all the detail of the crimes they committed instead of talking about why they shouldn't be committed. I mean, I understand bringing some light to the issue so we could talk about how bad it was and why it shouldn't happen again. But we spend so much time in like the victimization process instead of the remedy, And I think that we're almost teaching kids to be racist. Because I know, like, after we had our conversation, the best word to describe it was awkward. Everyone was kind of looking at everybody a little weird. Some people were feeling, could I talk to this kid anymore? What should I feel about the history and everything like that? I mean, some people kind of stepped away from one another. And that's not good. That's not good at all. And it got really bad in middle school. Like middle school, that's like the whole curriculum was just like how bad people were treated rather than, why we should be treated equally. And it wasn't as bad in high school, but still it's there. And especially when you get to college, I'm going to be honest with you, I saw some college professors try to gain popularity with certain groups of students based on ethnic backgrounds. They would kind of, throw the victim thing out there and be like, oh, the reason why everything is so bad is because of, the race issue. And they would try to fit themselves into this group I guess they felt awkward with or wasn't sure they would accept them. So they kind of sat in there and tried to play it off like, okay, this is the reasons for the problem. Now, some people kind of, bit it a little bit and got on it, but other people, they were like, no, what's he talking about? That's strange. Why is he bringing this race thing up? They were smart enough to know better. And I've seen some people of certain ethnic backgrounds try to explain some of like their problems based solely on race. And once again, that's not the case. But one person I thought said it pretty well was Morgan Freeman. I watched this video of Morgan Freeman talking with Mike Wallace about his views on racism. I liked it so much I decided to write down their conversation on a piece of paper, and I should probably read it right here for you so that you can kind of see my point of view. It starts off with Mike Wallace says, "Black History Month you find ridiculous." Morgan Freeman goes, "Ridiculous." And then Mike Wallace says, "Why?" And Morgan Freeman goes, "You're going to relegate my history to a month?" And then Mike Wallace goes, "Oh, come on." Morgan Freeman, "What are you going to do with yours? Which month is White History Month?" "Well," says Mike Wallace. So then Morgan Freeman goes, "Hold on now, tell me." And so then it's funny because kind of separating himself from the question, Mike Wallace says, "Well, I'm Jewish." "Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?" All right. And then Mike Wallace goes, "There isn't one." Morgan Freeman goes, Oh, why not?" And Mike Wallace goes, "I don't know." Morgan Freeman goes, "Well, do you want one?" And then Mike Wallace says, No, I do not." So Morgan Freeman goes, "Well, I don't either." He goes to say on here, "I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history." So then Mike Wallace says the pretty much obvious question, "Well, how are we going to get rid of racism until then Morgan Freeman jumps in and goes, stop talking about it. All right, I'm going to stop calling you a white man. So Mike Wallace goes, yeah. And then Morgan Freeman goes, and I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. Morgan Freeman continues by saying, I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman. I mean, that's it, people. Stop treating people by, putting them into groups, sectioning them off into independent categories. Start treating them as human beings, just as who they are, as individuals. Like, I like Doug Lowe because he was Doug Lowe. He was my friend. I didn't like him because of something, he came from. I liked him because of who he was. All right? And the same thing with, like, our society. Look at it this way. The earth is dynamic. Everything needs to link up with one another. Everything's a little different. It's like a bunch of gears, right? They all mesh together. Okay, well, what we're doing is we're taking the kids from different ethnic backgrounds, separating the gears, all right, and now they're separated, all right, and when we try putting them back together, after they've all been all lined up now, all right, learning about their own separate histories, all right, they start meshing, they start rubbing and breaking up against one another instead of working together, all right, you see what I mean? The same thing can be said with magnets. You get a magnet all on a line, you strip them apart, break them apart, and now you order them all up, all of them north facing one side or something like that. Now they know all about their personal histories or whatever, or at least you've taught them something to deal with their culture. And now you try pushing them all back together and they repel. It's the same thing. You need to keep people together. We all work, we all have different capabilities, we all have different thoughts. And the same thing goes with men and women. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, we see a lot of stuff today about men and women. I put a video up here talking about the origins of the word man, how it wasn't just, males. It's the same thing. Men and women, we're a little different at times, but you know what? We all need to work together. We all run together with everyone else. I mean, you gotta treat people as individuals. Will you stop treating everyone as groups, or why they say, why are you labeling me? The same thing. Stop giving people labels and start treating them as, okay, you're John or you're Paul or whatever. Don't treat them as like, okay, you're white, you're black. Okay? It doesn't make any sense. All right, so that's all I gotta say about that.